All right. So you've been hearing a lot about tariffs lately. Right. Specifically, all this talk about aluminum and steel.
Yeah, it's been hard to miss.
Definitely. Well, we've got some stuff here that should catch you up, and it's all really, really recent. Like we're
Mm.
talking February 9th, 2025 recent.
Wow. Okay, so right up to the minute.
Pretty much. We've
Yeah.
got a text message here and an article from CBS News.
Okay.
And this is all extra important right now because it sounds like President Trump is about to announce some big changes when it comes to tariffs.
Big changes, huh?
Yeah, and actually, the news is breaking like literally as we
Oh,
speak.
wow.
President Trump's about to slap a 25% tariff on all steel and aluminum imports starting Monday, February 10th, 2025.
Wow. So no more waiting around. This is like happening.
Yeah, and it's kind of a big swing, because we've seen him go back and forth with these tariffs over the last few years.
Yeah, it's true. Remember back during his first term, he put similar tariffs in place, but then he ended up giving some countries a pass, like exemptions.
Right.
But this time it feels different, like he's drawing a line in the sand.
Oh, totally. And he's been pretty loud about it, too. In fact, in the news today, he's quoted saying, if they charge us, we charge them.
Yeah.
Every country. If they're charging us 130% and we're charging them nothing, it's not going to stay that way.
Wow. Strong words.
Right. And this whole reciprocal tariff thing seems to be his main play when it comes to trade.
Definitely. And I think that quote sums it up perfectly. He sees these tariffs as a way to make sure things are fair, to protect American businesses.
Right.
But we can't forget that tariffs can backfire too. Sure, they might help out some industries here at home, but they can also mean higher prices for everybody and even make other countries mad enough to retaliate with their own tariffs.
Yeah, that's a good point.
It's complicated.
So since we're not all trade experts here,
Right.
what are the ins and outs of these reciprocal tariffs? Is it really as simple as you raise tariffs on us, we raise them right back at you?
Well, not exactly. It's a bit more nuanced than that. There are all sorts of different tariffs, and there are actual rules from the World Trade Organization, the WTO,
Yeah.
about how they're supposed to be used. So
Yeah.
the idea with reciprocal tariffs is that they're supposed to be like a measured response to, somebody doing something unfair in trade. But in the real world, they can sometimes turn into these big trade wars that actually end up hurting everyone.
Oh, for sure.
It can get messy.
Yeah, and we've kind of seen that play out recently, haven't we? Like with the tariffs on Mexico, Canada, and China.
Exactly. And that recent history is super important if we want to understand what's happening now. Those tariffs, especially the ones on steel and aluminum, they went back and forth. First they were on, then there were those exemptions, and now they're back in play.
Yep.
And all that flip-flopping, it just creates a lot of uncertainty. Global markets don't like that. Makes it tough for businesses to plan for the future.
And if I remember right, wasn't there a time when President Trump actually hit pause on tariffs against Canada and Mexico? And wasn't that tied to his concerns about immigration and fentanyl smuggling?
Yeah, that's a good point. And that just goes to show you how trade policy is often mixed up with all these other geopolitical issues. It's not just about the economy, it's about power, it's about strategy.
Okay, so let's connect all the dots here. We've got this whole web of tariffs going on, a president who clearly isn't afraid to use them, and a global economy that's already on shaky ground.
It's true.
So what does all this mean for the future? Like, what should we be prepared for?
Well, to be honest, it's hard to say for sure.
Right.
But if we look at what's happened with tariffs in the past and how they usually affect the economy, there are some things we can probably expect.
Like what? What should we be watching out for?
For one thing, get ready for prices to go up. When imported steel and aluminum get more expensive, those extra costs often get passed down the line. Eventually, they hit regular people in the form of higher prices for all kinds of stuff.
So it could hit people right where it hurts.
Exactly. And then there's the whole issue of retaliation. Other countries might get mad and put their own tariffs on American goods. If that happens, American businesses that depend on selling stuff overseas could really suffer. And that could mean job losses, a slowdown in the economy.
Yikes. It sounds like it's a super delicate situation with downsides all around.
That's one way to put it. And then there's the bigger picture, too, this whole protectionist approach, America first. It can cause friction between countries and mess up the flow of global trade. And some economists even argue that it ends up hurting economic growth and innovation in the long run.
It sounds like we're heading into uncharted waters here, and it might be a rough ride.
Yeah, that's a pretty good way to put it. We're in a whole new era of uncertainty when it comes to trade, and the fallout could be huge.
Well, you've definitely given us a lot to think about. It looks like this is just the beginning of a pretty interesting and maybe a little scary chapter in the story of global trade.
Yeah, for sure. And as you keep following this story, I want you to think about something. How might these tariffs affect your own life, directly or indirectly? Think about the things you buy, the businesses you support, even the overall economy.
Great question. Definitely something for everyone to take on. We encourage you to stay informed and stay involved as things develop.
Right.
We'll certainly be watching closely.
Absolutely.